Welcome to Macomb Paranormal Investigations and Research. Tonight, we explore one of the most common questions asked in the world of the paranormal. If spirits are free to go where they choose, why would they stay in cemeteries, funeral homes, old houses, battlefields, hospitals, or any place tied to death? It is a question that sounds simple at first. If the soul survives death, if consciousness continues, then why would anyone remain standing among rows of headstones in the cold silence of a graveyard? Why would a spirit linger in a funeral home hallway, an abandoned room, or the corner of a family house long after life has ended? Wouldn't they move on? Wouldn't they go somewhere better? Wouldn't they leave the sadness of this world behind? Tonight, we dive into the shadows of that mystery. For generations, people have reported strange experiences in cemeteries, voices in empty air, sudden chills on warm nights, footsteps behind them when no one is there, the feeling of being watched, apparitions seen between monuments, flickering lights, names whispered from darkness. Similar stories come from funeral homes, old family houses, hospitals, prisons, and places where emotion once ran deep. Skeptics will say there are natural explanations: wind through trees, old buildings settling, the power of suggestion, fear creating sensations in the mind. And sometimes they are right, but not every story is so easily dismissed. Many who have experienced something unexplained ask the same question: why here? Why this place? To understand that question, we first have to consider something important. What if spirits are not trapped at all? What if the cemetery is not a prison? What if the funeral home is not a cage? What if these places are simply chosen destinations? Think about your own life. You are free to travel anywhere you wish, yet there are places you return to again and again. Your childhood home, a favorite lake, a park bench where something meaningful happened, a street where someone you loved once lived. We are free, yet memory pulls us back. If consciousness continues after death, why would that be any different? Perhaps a spirit returns to places tied to love, memory, identity, and connection. A cemetery may look like rows of stone to the living, but to the spirit, it may represent something else entirely. It may be the place where family gathers, the place where flowers are brought, the place where names are spoken, the place where tears are shed, the place where someone says, "I miss you." If spirits can sense emotion, then a cemetery may be one of the strongest emotional locations connected to them. Many people visit graves and talk to loved ones as if they are listening. They tell them about marriages, children, regrets, joys, birthdays, holidays, and pain. They speak into the quiet and hope somehow those words are heard. What if sometimes they are? What if a spirit knows when a loved one arrives? What if they come not because they are trapped in the graveyard, but because someone they love is there? That idea changes everything. It turns the cemetery from a place of imprisonment into a meeting place between worlds. And that may explain why so many paranormal stories happen there. Then there is the connection to the physical remains themselves. For an entire lifetime, the body is our vehicle in this world. Through it, we laugh, cry, work, love, suffer, and survive. It carries our scars, our touch, our face, our presence. If the soul separates from the body at death, some believe there may still be a lingering bond. Not ownership, not imprisonment, but familiarity, like returning to an old house you once lived in. The body rests beneath the earth, and perhaps the spirit sometimes returns to what was once home. Another theory speaks of unfinished emotions. Imagine someone who died suddenly, someone who never said goodbye, someone whose death was violent, confusing, tragic, or unexpected. If consciousness continues, would clarity come instantly, Or might some remain disoriented, reaching for the familiar? That familiar place may be home. It may be the hospital room. It may be the roadside where life ended. It may be the funeral home where family gathered. It may be the cemetery where everyone came one final time. Many spiritual traditions suggest that some spirits need time to understand death. Others say they remain because they fear moving on, cling to life, or simply do not realize they are gone. Whether literal or symbolic, it is an idea repeated around the world. Then we come to funeral homes. Of all places tied to death, funeral homes may carry one of the strangest energies. Unlike a cemetery where time stretches over decades, a funeral home holds fresh grief. It is the place where shock arrives, where families cry in private rooms, where photographs are displayed, where last words are whispered over still hands, where one final look is taken before the lid closes forever. If emotion leaves any mark on a place, then funeral homes would hold powerful echoes. Workers in funeral homes, embalmers, night staff, and caretakers have long shared quiet stories. Doors opening on their own, footsteps in empty halls, televisions turning on, voices heard in preparation rooms, the sensation of someone standing nearby, lights flickering when no power issue is found. Many never speak publicly. Some fear ridicule. Others simply learn to accept strange moments as part of the job. If spirits linger briefly after death, a funeral home would make sense as a temporary place of presence. It is the final threshold between the world of the living and what comes next. And thresholds have always been considered powerful. Doorways, crossroads, sunset, midnight, birth, death, moments in between worlds. A funeral home is exactly that. Then there are houses. People often ask why a spirit would stay in a house instead of moving on. But think again of human nature. Home is where routines happen. Coffee in the kitchen, children in hallways, laughter in living rooms, arguments at tables, holidays in dining rooms, quiet tears in bedrooms. The house becomes layered with life. If any place would hold memory, it would be home. Some spirits may return not because they are trapped, but because the house contains the strongest map of who they once were. Others may remain because someone they love still lives there. Imagine a widow sensing her husband in the chair where he always sat. Imagine footsteps in the hallway after a parent dies. Imagine a child hearing their grandmother's voice in the kitchen weeks after the funeral. Coincidence? Grief? Wishful thinking? Sometimes, perhaps, but not always, according to those who have lived it. Another concept often discussed in paranormal circles is residual energy. This is different from an intelligent haunting. An intelligent haunting suggests awareness. Something responding, watching, communicating, choosing. Residual energy suggests replay. Like a recording stamped into the environment by intense emotion or repeated routine. Footsteps heard every night at the same time. A woman seen walking the same staircase. A shadow crossing the same hallway. Voices repeating phrases. No response. No interaction. Just repetition. If this theory has truth, then cemeteries, funeral homes, hospitals, and old homes may not always contain spirits at all. They may contain emotional recordings left behind by powerful moments. And that matters, because not everything paranormal is necessarily a person who has stayed. Sometimes it may be the memory of an event itself. Now, consider battlefields. Across the world, battlefields are among the most haunted locations reported. Why? Because they hold fear, pain, chaos, confusion, loyalty, sacrifice, and sudden death in overwhelming amounts. If emotional energy can imprint itself anywhere, Such places would be prime candidates. If spirits remain where trauma struck hardest, battlefields would be full of unfinished stories. Witnesses have described phantom soldiers, marching sounds, distant gunfire, cries in the night, and figures appearing in historical uniforms before fading into mist. Whether spirit, legend, or psychology, the pattern repeats again and again. The same is said of hospitals. Hospitals contain both hope and despair, birth and death, recovery and loss, final breaths and miraculous returns. For many people, the hospital room is where life changed forever. Some staff report hearing call buttons ring from empty rooms, seeing figures at the ends of halls, or feeling unseen presences after difficult nights. Again, maybe not imprisonment, maybe connection, maybe emotion, maybe something we do not yet understand. There is also a deeply human reason spirits might remain in certain places. Love. If love continues beyond death, then staying close to family makes sense. A parent watching over children, a spouse checking in on the one left behind, a grandparent present during holidays, a loved one appearing in dreams during grief. Many people describe signs after loss, favorite songs playing unexpectedly, familiar scents appearing from nowhere, objects moved, clocks stopping at meaningful times, gentle touches. Dreams more vivid than ordinary dreams. Some dismiss these as coincidence. Others know what they felt. And if those moments are real, then spirits may not be tied to cemeteries at all. They may move freely, visiting those they love and places that matter. The cemetery may simply be where we notice them most. Why? Because we arrive already thinking of them. Our minds are quiet there. Our hearts are open there. Our attention is focused there. Perhaps spirits are present in many places, but cemeteries make us receptive. That is a powerful thought. Maybe the dead have always been near. Maybe we only listen in certain places. Another possibility is that spirits gather where they are remembered. Names spoken aloud may matter more than we realize. Grave markers preserve identity, dates, relationships, stories carved in stone. Beloved mother, faithful husband, gone too soon, forever in our hearts. To speak a name is to remember a life. If memory has power, then cemeteries are full of it. This could explain why abandoned graves sometimes inspire eerie stories. Forgotten places, broken stones, names no longer spoken, lives slipping from memory. Some investigators say neglected cemeteries feel different than active ones. Heavier, sadder, quieter in a way, deeper than silence. Whether psychological or paranormal, many notice it. Then there is fear itself. Humans associate cemeteries with death, and death with uncertainty. We enter expecting something strange. Every creak matters, every shadow moves, every breeze feels colder. Fear sharpens senses. It can also distort them. That does not mean all experiences are false. It means some may be amplified by expectation. The best investigators know this. They balance openness with skepticism. They respect the mystery without surrendering reason. That balance matters, because if everything is paranormal, then nothing is. But if nothing is possible, then truth may be missed. So where does that leave the question? Why would a spirit stay in a cemetery? Maybe they don't stay at all. Maybe they visit. Maybe they return when family arrives. Maybe they are drawn by prayer, grief, memory, or love. Maybe the resting place of the body still matters to the soul. Maybe the cemetery is not for the dead, but for the living, and spirits meet us there because that is where we come looking. Why would a spirit remain in a funeral home? Maybe for one last goodbye. Maybe to watch loved ones gather. Maybe because death was sudden and confusion remains. Maybe because thresholds are powerful places. Maybe because fresh grief shines like a beacon. Why would a spirit remain in a house? Because home is where life happened. Because someone they love is still there. Because routine, memory, and identity are built into the walls. Why battlefields, hospitals, prisons, roadsides, old theaters, schools, churches? Because emotion happened there. Because life happened there. Because death happened there. Because meaning happened there. And meaning may be stronger than distance. In the end, perhaps we ask the wrong question. Instead of asking why spirits stay in certain places, maybe we should ask why certain places still hold people. We return to graves. We revisit old homes. We preserve battlefields. We tell stories about hospitals, roads, theaters, and haunted rooms. We do it because places matter. If they matter to us in life, why would they not matter after death? Tonight, if you ever walk through a cemetery at dusk, notice how quiet it feels. Not empty, quiet. There is a difference. Empty means nothing is there. Quiet means something may simply be waiting. Maybe not trapped, maybe not lost, maybe only remembering, maybe only visiting, maybe standing beside someone who came to say, I still love you, and maybe, just maybe, hearing every word. This has been Macomb Paranormal Investigations and Research, May 8th, 2026. We will be filming a live all-night investigation at the Mortuary Manor in Toledo, Ohio. You won't want to miss that entire investigation on our YouTube channel. Later that week, we will have a live podcast discussion of our investigation, all the behind-the-scenes stuff that will prove to be very interesting, so please subscribe to our channel so as not to miss that one. Until next time, keep your mind open, keep your eyes sharp, and if you hear footsteps among the stones behind you, don't be too sure they came from the living.